Hi, I'm Seth Wilford, founder and director of Hope Collective. I just want to share a story with you today. I was thinking back when I was in about 7th grade. I went to T.G. Bar Elementary School, and I was walking home with a friend, and the walk was about a half mile. And a lot of times on this walk, we'd find ourselves doing interesting things and getting into a little bit of trouble, every once in a while, especially because there's a development of homes being built. We'd always like to go and see at what stage they were at, and possibly throw some rocks, right? And so I was thinking about this when we were going home. My friend, he was a lot more easier to find trouble than I was. And as we were walking down the street, I remember he saw this girl in front of us that we all knew in the neighborhood. And so he decided to kind of yell and throw a rock at her. And as he did that, I didn't realize as we were both walking, he hid behind the trash can. So as the girl actually turned around, she actually thought it was just me. And I looked at her and said, it wasn't me. And obviously she walked into the house, and her house was just on that corner. So I continued to walk a little bit more down the block to my house. And then next thing you know, I hear the name Seth yelled very loudly, but I've heard this before from my mom, but this had a different tone to it. This was a little bit darker, and as I turn around, I see this young girl went into the house and told her 2 brothers that, hey, that young boy threw a rock. And so all I could do is turn around, and when I saw the size of them and how much older they were than me, I automatically started running. And if you've ever ran, or if you've ever been chased, or if you've ever run away from something, you're just a little bit faster. And that was the fastest I honestly think that I've ever ran my entire life, looking over my shoulder, and thank God they did not catch me. And I bring that story up because it kind of reminds me of the people that you find in the book of Exodus, God's people, that they were in captivity for a long time. And finally, God said, hey, I'm gonna make a way for you to get out. It always, I love that God is a waymaker, right? And so God tells them, hey, well, I'm gonna make a way for you, especially right there when there is no way. I just wanna give you a side note. You might be sitting there listening to this video. I don't know where you're at or what you're going through, but I can tell you this, God will make a way for you. Just like he did, I'm about to tell you in the book of Exodus, with God's people, just like he did for me on that day, just like he's done for many people, God will always make a way for you. Don't give up. And so going back to the book of Exodus, as we're there, they're running and they're running away from a bad situation. They're running away from a problem. And the greatest thing that they're running, that they're led by God's Spirit, because God said in his word, hey, you could run, leave the place. And I found it so interesting, as God told them they could leave the place, all of a sudden as they're running away from the captivity, the bondage that they were in, they face a big obstacle, the sea. And I don't know if you're like me, if you ever had that opportunity or position where you say yes to God and you say, yes, God, I'm gonna answer. For me, that was, yes, God, I'm gonna quit my full-time job and my employment for the state that has insurance for all my kids. I'm gonna say yes to your promises to be a pastor, serving the community that I grew up in. So I say yes to that, but then all of a sudden you say yes to a challenge, you say yes to a way, but then you're faced with another problem. You might have said yes to God just a couple months ago, but now you're sitting home in COVID. You might have said yes to God, I'm gonna be that Christian in the school, I'm gonna carry my word, I'm gonna be brave this year. But now you're sitting at home like my son on online school for the next 2 weeks if you're in high school. And you might be saying, how? What's the way? And just like in the book of Exodus, they're sitting there and they're facing a problem, and the crowd almost starts to turn on themselves, saying, we should have just stayed back there, because now, not only did they leave, but now they're also being chased. They're running. And they're running now from the armies and the things that kept them captive, and is now gonna kill them and bring them back into bondage. And so they're in a middle ground saying, well, we can't go back here now. We've had that same run and fear that I had when they were chasing me, and they probably even had it more because they're running for their lives. And it's like, what do we do? And then right in the midst, I heard this as a pastor, this is a great thing. God is rarely early, but he's always on time. And I just think that's so true here in the same exact situation, that we're sitting there, we're faced with this uncertain, great challenge that we've already said yes to God, and we're not sure. I just want to encourage you, let God continue, because he will make a way. Just like he did for the people of Israel, Moses held up his staff and he opened up the sea and he parted it. And this is, if you read into the context, it said they walked on dry ground. And as they walked across it, the thing that was chasing them, God then took care of. So I want to just encourage you, wherever you're at today, you might be facing whatever foreseen challenges, but God will make a way. If God has called you to it, he will see you through it. God bless you.